The Enigma of the Haunting Violin. In the heart of London, amid the cobbled streets and gaslit alleyways, a case emerged that would forever haunt the legendary exploits of Sherlock Holmes. The newspapers dubbed it the Haunting Violin, a mystery that would challenge even the keenest of minds. It was a crisp autumn morning when Dr. John Watson received a letter at 221 B. Baker Street. The letter was typewritten, unusual for Holmes' clientele, who often preferred anonymity. It read,
"Mr. Holmes, I implore your assistance in a matter of utmost urgency. An enigmatic violin haunts my family, and its spectral music chills our very souls. Come at once to our estate, Harmonia, in the countryside. You are our last hope. Percival Travers."
Sherlock Holmes, with his characteristic intrigue and a touch of curiosity, agreed to take the case. The following day, Holmes and Dr. Watson arrived at Harmonia. It was an imposing mansion, surrounded by sprawling gardens, and yet an air of foreboding seemed to shroud the estate. The ornate wrought iron gates creaked open, and the detective and his companion entered the enigmatic world of the Travers family. Percival Travers, a frail and anxious man, explained the strange occurrence. For generations, the Travers family had owned a rare and extraordinary violin, known as the Stradivarius of Sorrows. It was said to be imbued with an eerie and unsettling charm, and whenever it was played, the family's fortunes changed, both for better and for worse. But in recent months, something sinister had transpired. The violin began to play itself at night, its mournful melodies drifting through the halls. Its strings seemed to vibrate with an otherworldly presence, and the music was laden with sorrow and despair. The family was paralyzed by fear, unable to fathom the source of this unearthly symphony. Holmes examined the instrument, but it bore no physical defects. He then interviewed the household staff, the local villagers, and even consulted the town's historians, seeking any clue that might reveal the origin of the haunting violin. Every lead, however, turned into a dead end. As night fell, Holmes and Watson stationed themselves in the room where the violin resided. They waited in silence, their senses keenly attuned to any peculiar sounds. Just as the clock struck midnight, the eerie strains of the violin began to fill the air. Holmes studied the instrument, but found no visible agency for its otherworldly performance. In the midst of this ghostly serenade, Holmes uncovered a hidden panel within the instrument. Inside, he found a letter, ancient and yellowed. It was penned by a long-forgotten Travers ancestor, who had made a Faustian bargain with a vengeful spirit in exchange for unearthly musical talent. Holmes deciphered the cryptic letter and realized that the haunting was a curse born from a blood pact made centuries ago. The violin strings were tied to the very souls of the Travers family. The time had come for the spirit to reclaim its due. With great wisdom and quick thinking, Holmes orchestrated a cunning plan. He replicated the curse-breaking ritual mentioned in the letter, and at the stroke of dawn, the haunting violin ceased its eerie melody. The curse was lifted, and the malevolent spirit released its hold on the Travers family. As Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson left Harmonia, the estate that had been shrouded in darkness was bathed in the warm light of a new day. The haunting violin was silenced, and the Travers family was freed from the centuries-old curse. The case of the haunting violin added yet another enigmatic chapter to the legendary exploits of Sherlock Holmes, reminding the world that even in the face of the supernatural, logic and reason could prevail.